As more and more federal job cuts continue, U.S. MARC in Clay Center, Nebraska is not spared any of those losses. Hi, I'm Susan Littlefield on the Rural Radio Network. We caught up with Laura Field. She's Executive Vice President of the Nebraska Cattlemen as we talk more about what's going on with U.S. MARC and how that's going to affect those in the cattle industry.
Really a concern for us. We know that U.S. MARC is so important to the beef industry, and we are very fortunate to have them located here in Nebraska, but this is not just a Nebraska issue. U.S. MARC's footprint is across the country and across the world. And so, we would be the first ones to say, yes, we agree there's efficiencies in government that are needed, and there are things that should be considered, but U.S. MARC is not one of those things. U.S. MARC is vitally important in the mission they have. So it's a concern. It was maybe a little surprising to us to hear it, but it's definitely a concern going forward to make sure that they can continue to keep, everything there going, keep the animals going, and then keep the research going as well.
And you bring up a key point too, Laura, the fact that there are animals that are at this facility. It's not like there's just somebody in a room doing research.
That's right. There's over 25,000 head of livestock. And it's, we certainly pay very close attention on the beef cattle side, but they've got sheep, they've got swine down there. They've got dairy cattle. There's all kinds of things that they have to do day in and day out. And I think right now with the cold weather we're experiencing, it's even more important, as we know those cattle have to be fed every day. U.S. MARC also grows crops that go into their feed rations and hay that they use to feed livestock. So all those things are part of the puzzle that maybe the average person doesn't think about when they think, oh yeah, maybe they have too many folks working there. But, from what we know, they've seen technicians lost and researchers and even just statisticians that are helping keep that data together and keeping things running. So all of those things together, it's a real world issue for us to face.
And to see, and as you talked about, there are some areas that have extra, but this is agriculture, and what is done in agriculture not only protects but feeds the world.
Absolutely. They've done so much unique work down there looking at, respiratory disease, looking at heart disease, looking at food safety and improving cattle fertility, all the things that they do that make the decisions that ranchers make every day so impactful. Like, they are doing the research that says this is what you should do, this is how you should do it. And so I think it's just such a unique it's such a unique place, and it's a world-class research facility. It's just, a lot of people don't realize the things that go on down there, and they already run on a very tight budget. They run on a very shoestring crew. And so, Nebraska Cattlemen has been advocating for many, many years for more support for U.S. MARC. So, we're talking about the long term, not just like what's happening in the moment.
What work have you guys done? I mean, obviously, as you get this information, and it continues to come your way, have you reached out to those in Washington, D.C. to share your frustration?
Yes, absolutely. And we are very fortunate, I think, as an association, we know that is our responsibility to advocate for the issues that are important. So immediately upon hearing the news of the cuts, we reached out to our congressional delegation, to the whole group, but especially to Senators Fisher and Ricketts and to Congressman Smith, since the center sits in his district. We've had conversation with their staffs. We know that they are very engaged. We are very fortunate here to have a delegation that knows the importance of the center. We also have been working with our colleagues here in the state. We've been working very closely with the University of Nebraska. They have a tight role with MARC because they've got staff on the ground there. They have a dual operation there, that there's university employees and U.S. MARC employees. So we are talking to those folks really every day to make sure that we are staying on top of it. We've also engaged national cattlemen at the national level to help talk with folks at USDA and otherwise, just to make sure that we're keeping the focus on the issue. We're magnifying the voice of that issue and really hoping that we get enough attention to it to where we can see some things happen, or at least have some certainty going forward, knowing they're still going to be able to operate. They're still going to be able to do what they need and still going to be able to take care of the livestock at the facility.
So what can Nebraska cattle members do?
Yeah, I would say certainly, that's one other thing I should say when you ask that question. Our members, especially in that area, the folks that work at U.S. MARC are their friends and neighbors. So, I think they have really been impacted by what's going on because they're hearing from folks about getting laid off and let go. And so we just really have encouraged people. We have a lot of members on advisory committees down at U.S. MARC. We've asked them to call their senators and congressmen and let them know. And also, just to keep on engaging in the discussion of the importance of the facility so that we can make a point of like, look, again, we understand the desire to cut wasteful spending. We just believe that U.S. MARC is not in the category of wasteful spending and things that are not essential functions every day. So as long as we can just keep that message out there, I think that's what we would encourage our members to do as well. And certainly reach out to us if they have questions about what's going on.
Those comments coming from Laura Field. She is with the Nebraska Cattlemen. Well, the U.S. MARC, as it is known, was established back in 1964, providing research-backed solutions for the livestock industry. Now, over 60 years now, this 35,000 acres in rural Clay County, Nebraska, serves as one to solve high-priority problems for beef, sheep, and the swine industry. It is recognized around the world of comprehensive research and industry solutions. Again, federal cuts have affected U.S. MARC, with many wondering what that long-term effect is going to be on research. I'm Susan Littlefield on the Rural Radio Network.